better in the second half for me. Cute touches in the first. And that's what I mean. For me personally, with Smith Rowe, I think it's mental. Like, I think he's got the technical ability. I just think sometimes he looks a bit overawed. Sometimes he looks a bit starstruck. You know, sometimes I think he's deep in the fact that he's playing at Premier League level with all of these sort of players a bit too much. But this is what I want to see. Is it any coincidence we're seeing Smith Rowe on the half turn linking up with man? Martinelli's looking good down the left. You know what? Smith Rowe shown why, with all due respect to Joe Willock, you know, because I'm not going to get onto Joe Willock because he put in a shift against City, and even in his little cameo today, little slide tackles and that, and tracking back. But I personally feel today showed why Joe, you know, isn't the man for the 10. You see Smith Rowe. Like I said, I think Smith Rowe put in an encouraging performance. He grabbed an assist, but I don't think he played amazing. He set the world alight. He did any of those things necessarily through no criticism. But what I like about him, he does what we want. He's there on the half turn. He plays within the lines. He can drive. He can play 1-2s and triangles with other men. Joe struggles to do that. And like you saw, you know, City, he looked good against City, not because of his technical quality. I think since he's been exposed to the first team, I think he's struggling in that aspect, actually. It's because he was given a role to press Laporte, to chase lost causes. And today he had to inject energy. But when he had a chance to hit the target or control the ball in the middle, he was kind of struggling, you know, and that's where it's no criticism of Joe. That's where we've got to work with Joe in a constructive sense. But that's why I think you've got to go with Smith Rowe. I think Smith Rowe isn't playing here because I think the only thing that's going to stop him back, me as a fan, is mentally. He needs to believe fully that he's part of this thing, and that's going to come with time. He's very much a confidence player. Injuries as well, because if you're not fit, you can't play. Arteta ultimately needs the bravery to play him as well, because, you know, if this game went a different way, you know, it was a bit of bewildering decisions from Arteta, because I was ready to say it already, people. It's like, I didn't get the Marie thing, because on the best of the days, it looks like Marie can't buy a game, and you know, you're throwing him in against a team that's fifth. It could be setting up a man to fail, and Marie played well. On one hand, it's bewildering. On the other hand, you could say he keeps faith in his team, and there's been a couple of times we've seen Luiz or Xhaka either dropped or brought into the team. It didn't make sense. Cedric as well. You know, Bellerin and Xhaka prior to the game for poor form. So there's been a bit of bewildering decisions generally, and I don't think we're any closer. Obviously today people won, so we look good, but I don't think we're any closer to really see how Arteta sees his best lineup or sees his team. But I think Smith Rowe showed why he's got to play. Martinelli showed why he's got to play. Yeah, he should have scored and made it 4-0. But he showed he showed what he showed what he's on. Like, he just from pressing, you know, just from chasing lost causes, just from the energy, and definitely since he's put on some more muscle, he's more of a problem. You know, Martinelli causes some problems. You know, Martinelli does some issues, and I think, you know, you can't. No, you saw a lot of space opening purely because of Martinelli's movement and linking up with the rest of the players. You can't tell me that Martinelli's youthful exuberance and his energy isn't better than Willian's conservatism and playing backwards and not making any movement. The youth will set you free. You know, these young players are naive. Same way they want, but the bulk of them played. And like I said, hail up Haaland and Martinelli, because they, you know, experienced players did their thing as well. And the third goal was Saka's goal was lovely, because it was Bellerin's pass to Smith Rowe. I know via Barcelona, Bellerin's been in our academy, and then obviously Saka scored a fluke cross. I'm going to say he meant it, which is great. It's great for us people because it was made in Haaland. But I feel the young players will set you free because they're fearless, you know, in a healthy way. Saka wants to play football because he wants to advance. Smith Rowe wants to play, you know. Play. I keep saying it. Play the man that are hungry in this team, and players that play today are hungry. Even Balogun, I'd love to see him get a little couple minutes because they're hungry. And I'm not naive. The same way they played amazing at home today, it's a different story when you go away from home against a West Bromwich Albion side managed by Big Sam, where it's just, you know, getting tight, kicking you up, and you might not shine. You know, these young players are still trying to put consistency in them, but their fearlessness means they're going to stand up to be counted. This fearlessness means, you know, they're showing something there really and truly, because these experienced players ain't been giving it to you. So these young players will set you free. You know, with the exception of Bellerin and Xhaka, you know, these young players will they did their thing today. You know, they did it. Lacazette did his thing. You know, again, I still don't think too much should change personally. You know, I don't think we should start immediately talking about a new deal for Lacazette. We should start talking about is Xhaka being revitalized? Is Bellerin gonna do this? Can Arsenal collectively do that? You know, Arteta this and that. I still think they're still in a healthy way. Praise and critique. I still think there's question marks over the whole thing. I'm not gonna lie to you, lot people. So we'll have to see what happens, man. We'll have to see. But for me, you've got to start including Smith Rowe and the rest of them people. In my opinion, they're gonna set you free. And there's a couple others waiting in the wings that are ready, people. Really and truly, they're ready. I'm aware that I've missed out a super chat. I apologize for that. Fidel, you said big up the Arsenal. Now it's a Merry Christmas. Hopefully, this is the start of a new run. Manager needs backing in January. I appreciate your super chat and your $5. Forgive me for missing out, people. I really appreciate that. And you're right, he needs to be backed. But again, it's ifs and buts and all of these sort of things. Like Stylish has said, one game at a time. You know, all we can do is one game at a time, because sentiment and mood changes, and especially in football. Football's very reactionary. Everyone's the messiah today. Everyone's a dud and all these things tomorrow. You know, focus on Tuesday. Like I said, as a collective fan base and the players, we enjoy this moment. But we move, you know, come Monday, it's irrelevant. In fact, I'd even say Sunday evening, it's irrelevant. Switch back on. You've got a Brighton team that ain't won too many times. As an Arsenal fan, I'm happy. You know, we didn't keep a clean sheet, but Werner didn't end his goal scoring drought. You know, it looks like they need to find their receipt for that, brother. Obviously, you know, we let ourselves down for the goal, but generally it was a much better game than many of us suspected, people. And, you know, because immediately we're fighting relegation, it's decent, people. London is red. Come on. Of course, man. Play the kids. You're right, man. You know, no coincidence. And to be fair for Arteta, you know, there's less question marks, because we're not speaking about why did he play Xhaka and Bellerin, because they played well, rightly so. You know, things could have went differently. Like I said with the Marie point, you know, you've not really used him, and then you've thrown him in, and it's a new partnership of sorts. You've kept him Bellerin and Xhaka. You know, you've got Aubameyang on the bench, and I was feeling, you've got to play Aubameyang, in my opinion, because if Aubameyang's fit, obviously Arteta's shown today why he's the gaffer, and I'm here sitting on YouTube. You know, I'm here sitting on YouTube because he didn't play Aubameyang. I felt if Aubameyang's fit, you've got to play him in it. We ain't got no Gabriel, we ain't got no Partey, Pepe's not playing. Not that he's been playing amazing. You've got no Aubameyang. I think the bulk of that kind of helped because Lampard didn't really probably plan for other players. But at the same time, there would have been question marks. Because for me, if Aubameyang is fit, you play him. You know, people will say, yeah, he's had a knock and he's only fit enough to be on the bench. I hear that. But I would have been of the belief you give Aubameyang, you know, you start him and you can take him off. I don't want to chase a game with Aubameyang, sort of thing, if that makes sense. I don't want to bring Aubameyang on when I'm conceding and things like that. So that's what I was thinking personally.